Are you thinking about moving to Keansburg, New Jersey? Well, this small Bayshore town in Monmouth County might surprise you. With a unique mix of affordability, coastal views, and ongoing redevelopment, Keansburg is one of the most talked about hidden gems for buyers along the Raritan Bay. So in today's video, we're going to break down everything that you need to know before making the move into Keansburg. So it's going to be from the commute to work, home prices, and much, much more. Before we get started though, if it is your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. And on the Live in Central Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you're the first one to know what's going on in your Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get the video started. Heading into the map tour portion of everything, I have an outline of what you can see with Keansburg. So obviously not a very large town compared to some other within Monmouth County, but also not going to be the smallest because we do have some pretty small beach towns too. So sitting at around a mile to 1 to 1.5 square miles. Technically, I think the township is actually about 15 to 16 square miles, but the majority that's obviously going to be waterways surrounding here and not the township or the land part itself, obviously. So just by looking at this. The nice thing is you can see the yellow part outline here. You do have some beach access. You got Keansburg Beach. So if you're looking to lay in the sun on the beach, have some water, or just go into the ocean, that is a possibility for you right here. And depending on the conditions of the day, maybe even enjoy the New York City skyline. So that's kind of nice too. In terms of major roadways that run through it, you're going to have Route 36. And by running through it, I mean like the little sliver of it's going to connect right here. So Route 36 is the only major roadway that really hangs in there. But you are close to Route 35 and the Garden State Parkway. Zoom out a little bit for you. So you got 36 will combine into 35, and then you got the Garden State Parkway right up here. All three roadways will run north to south, and then Route 35 and 36 will be non-toll, whereas the Garden State Parkway will be a toll road and one of the two major highways that we have here in all of New Jersey. The other one being the New Jersey Turnpike. The Parkway will run across the east side of New Jersey, literally from New York City all the way down to the southern point in Cape May. So that's going to be your main roadway on this side of Monmouth County. But overall, yeah, it's kind of what we got about Keansburg. If you're looking at just location in Monmouth County, it pretty much is the most northern part in a sense, but I guess Sandy Hook technically is the most northern, but I guess the more mainland part of Monmouth County, it's going to be Keansburg over here. So in general, pretty solid location, especially being in the proximity to New York City, which we'll get to right now, as if you want to commute into there. So a lot of people that live here in Monmouth County will commute to New York City, and it's a big reason why they will move over here for the better quality of life, but you make more money in the city. Changing that to a 7 a.m. commute, kind of more typical rush hour time frame. And they're going to have it down to about an hour and 5 minutes to 2 hours. This one's going to be going into the Wall Street District. That's the southern portion of New York City over there. Again, hour and 5 minutes to 2 hours, obviously a pretty wide range. I'd probably just split the difference and say most times it'd be an hour and a half. The reason being is you have your rush hour traffic, bad rainy days traffic, and that kind of thing. The majority of your commute, though, is going to be relatively pretty smooth. Once you hit this Newark Airport area, that's where it's going to start building up a little bit with the traffic. Reason being is obviously so many cars and only so many bridges that you can get access to into New York City. And if it takes about 42 miles like this one route says, I would say 32 of those miles, maybe to 35 are going to be relatively pretty smooth. And those last like 5 to 10 are really going to be tough for you. There's a lot of traffic. So it might take you to go 5 or 10 miles. It might take you 45 minutes at the end over there. So that's where it kind of gets a little bit annoying. But overall, Keansburg's in an excellent spot to be driving to New York City. One thing to mention though, are the new congestion tolls. They are technically still in effect to my knowledge. And I'm assuming they're staying in effect. So New York City want to cut down just congestion, the overall congestion, emissions, and they started dinging New Jersey commuters with a pretty hefty toll about getting in and out of the city during their peak hours, which is like 5 a.m. to I think 9 p.m. So obviously a pretty wide range for most of the people, and you will be if you are working in the city, you're probably going to be hitting that unless you're waking up really super early. So overall, driving yourself may or may not be the best option in that opinion. I would probably look into taking the bus. So there's two different options with that. You would go through Academy, so you have NJ Transit and Academy Bus. Use Academy if you're going to be living in the Keansburg area. The best stop will probably be, you have a couple. You have the Keansburg Beachway over here. Keansburg Route 36 in Maine. That's probably going to be the more popular one. So if you go back out to the map really quick, just show you where that's at. So it's right where it connects with Route 36. You got Main Street right there. So this is where the bus stop would be. I would say it's probably a more popular one of all of these stops here. And from there, getting into New York City, what does it have it at? Probably relatively pretty quick. Sorry, I have to turn my head sideways here if you're looking on the camera. So from 413, so they have it down as about an hour and 12 minutes, hour and 10, hour and 15, somewhere in that kind of range, depending on exactly when you you hop on. So overall, roughly about the same time as driving yourself. It might just be a little bit more peaceful, just not having to do anything. Pop a podcast in, maybe take a nap, whatever you might want to do in that point in time. So, but that's getting into Port Authority. You also have an option, as you can see. Also, this is from Monday to Thursday. They do have a Friday separate one. I don't want to really get into that with you too much, but then you also have a Wall Street one. So like I mentioned before, you have Port Authority and Wall Street are two main areas. To get into the Wall Street, same stop, Route 36 in Keansburg and Main to Route 36 right here. And they got it from 520 up to 705. So looks like a little bit longer. I'm sorry, 550 to 705. So roughly about the same time frame as going into Port Authority. Not much of a difference there. In terms of other commute ways, sometimes people will take the train. There isn't going to be a train in Keansburg themselves. The two nearest stops will be in Middletown and Hazlitt, so somewhere right here and down there. I wouldn't recommend it at that point. The train and the bus will be going into Penn Station, Port Authority, respectively, and they're basically right next to each other, like right down the street. So I would just take the bus right from Keansburg at that point. The only other option I would possibly entertain would be taking the ferry. It would be your most expensive of all the trips, but the Belford port is going to be right here, so not very far away. You just have to drive over and park your car, and then take the train in. From there to the Wall Street district is about 45 minutes. Kind of give you an idea. So from Belford down to New York City, again, roughly 45. Not like if you add in the time that you're gonna have to drive over there, though, I would say it's roughly about the same as the other ones. It would be probably the most peaceful though, and just a different site. You get taking the ferry in rather than going, dealing with rush hour traffic and taking the road or taking the bus. Just the same sites every day. But in general, you'd only use the ferry, I would say, in a couple different towns here in Monmouth County, really more towards those northeastern parts. So Keansburg would be one of them I'd recommend, but again, it would be the most expensive of all the trips. If you go to the fairs real fast, I think the 40 trip pass is over 700, and take me all the way down to the bottom here. Yeah, so it's up to 720 for the 40 trip pass, whereas the bus stop, I think it's around like 5 or 450, 500. So I mean, those are your options. I would probably just take the bus if I was going to be going into New York City. That's just my personal opinion. The train would definitely be a no-go for me. Drive yourself or take the ferry. So, but again, driving yourself with those new congestion tolls and the ferry are probably going to be ballpark around the same price too. So, the bus, my opinion, best option. Moving on to the school district. So Keansburg is going to have its own separate school district. It's rated a C minus according to niche.com. Houses about 1565 students and has a 18 to 1 student teacher ratio. So even though it's a smaller district, it kind of has larger class sizes based off those numbers. Again, each school is going to be a little bit different, but they have one elementary, one middle, and one high school. So you kind of see here, one elementary. The high school looks to have the highest rating at a C plus, and you got to see that on the map right there, you got the three schools. Overall, I would say it's going to be lower ranked for Monmouth County. So Monmouth County is known for its school districts and being very highly ranked. I don't know if I can pull that up here, actually. Let's see. Is it that simple? Beautiful. There we go. So you can see here, you got Homedale's going to be the top ranked district, which actually isn't far from Keansburg. That's an A. For your regional high school district, A. Pretty much all the way until you get to the eighth best district that then goes into a B plus. So there's quite a few really high or really highly touted schools and school districts in general in Monmouth County. So I would say Keansburg's going to be on the lower tier of those, which just being on the lower tier of Monmouth County might not mean you're on the lower tier of other areas. But again, take that as you wish. If you are going to be raising a family, having kids, maybe you want to look into a different district for that if that's really important to you. If it's not, if you just want a cheaper home by the beach, Keansburg might be an excellent place for you. So as you kind of get into the home prices right now. Great segue, wasn't it? This is unique for Monmouth County. So the median sales price right now, horrible circle on my end, but year to date, $360,000. For all of Monmouth County, right now it's sitting at about $685,000. I just made a recent market update video on Monmouth. Maybe I'll link it in the description down below here or at the end of the video. But yeah, the national median will be about 435. So the fact that Keansburg is going to be cheaper than the national, which is going to be including parts of like Mississippi or the Midwest area, and then it's cheaper. It's probably almost close to half of what Monmouth County is. That's kind of nuts, right? So it's going to be one of the most affordable towns in Monmouth County, if not the most affordable town. Back when Hurricane Sandy came through, it did destroy a lot of stuff, and it's been under major redevelopment for a while now. A lot of investors came in. You'll see a lot of more raised homes compared to what there used to be. And I'm not even, maybe back, I don't know, 80s, 90s, it wasn't necessarily a great time to live in, without a doubt. It has gone major upgrades and major redevelopment. And it might not be all the way there just yet, but if you're looking for one area to potentially boom in the next 5 to 10 years, it might sound silly to some people, to some locals, but I think this is really one of those spots that has that potential to do so at an affordable price for every single person, from a first time buyer to someone downsizing in any sense. So, I mean, how often are you going to get a beach home in Monmouth County for less than $1 million? Pretty much almost doesn't exist at this point anymore. So, these are insane prices for that opportunity. Absorption rate, this just kind of measures exactly how many listings that we have on the market right now, and what kind of market we're in, buyers or sellers. Anything less than 6 months is going to be a seller's market. And right now we're sitting at 3.5 months, meaning if we had no new listings for 3.5 months come onto the market, that's how long we go until we ran out of houses in a sense. Days on market sitting at a median of 17, not bad. That means you're pretty much homes going up there and it's getting sold within like the first 2 weeks in a sense. Price point wise, like we already mentioned a little bit, but just kind of give you an idea. This is the difference between Monmouth County, right? So 500K plus homes, only four of them have been sold all year so far. Compared to homes in the 400 to 430 or 500 range, 3 to 400, and so on, right? So you will be able to find some cheaper real estate here in Keansburg, which is a good thing. And there's not many pockets of that left in Monmouth County, so it's not bad to see. In terms of actual homes, we'll go over that for you real fast. Keansburg, these are for single families. There's not going to be any adult communities, but we'll just kick it off with the single families real quick, so I had that pulled up already. Cheapest prices, $94,000. If I had to guess, it's probably a total gut job, had to be raised, that kind of situation there. If you're looking for something that's move-in ready, you pretty much have to be in that 250, 260 range, I would say. Gives you like more of a ballpark. But again, some of those homes are going to be very tiny because don't forget it is a beach town. So you're looking at a 600 square foot home, 540. You start to get up into like the 1100 range too, but that's two beds. So if you're looking for something very tiny, you don't need a lot of space. If you're by yourself, you're single, this might be an excellent area for something like that, right? On the flip side of things, the most expensive home that sold last year, 760,000 pretty much, which is kind of an anomaly because it's $100,000 more than the next closest one there at 650, which is also about $100,000 more than the next closest there. So they realistically, most of the homes here will top out around that 550 mark, and you'll see a big bulk in between 250 and 550. So that's pretty much the bulk of the sales here for Keansburg in the single family range. So you're not going to see these larger homes. It's built in an older area. Now some of the ones that are being redeveloped and they're raising them up and they're building higher. So they're building like a 3-story home where that first story is like a garage. And you're not going to use anything else, maybe just storage down there. Kind of exactly how this is actually laid out. It's a perfect example. Hold on. Something like this because you have to be raised for the flood insurance purposes, and then you have the home going up. So you're basically living on 3 stories in that aspect. So those are some of the more modern ones that are being built here in Keansburg. And then the condo side of things, only 6 sales last year. A couple different ones. Got Crystal Bay, Comfort by the Sea. So anywhere between 1 and 2 beds, nothing crazy here, and it ranges from about a buck 50 up to 315. So if I was going to be living in that area, though, I'd probably recommend just going into the single family houses. At that point, you're going to have more variety, and you won't have to deal with the HOA at that point too. So, but again, that's not necessarily for everybody. Some people don't want to deal with the maintenance on the lawn, and you might opt in for a condo or a townhome. I live in a townhome myself right now. It's kind of nice to not have to sit there and mow the lawn all the time. So, it all just depends. So, in general, dealing with real estate with Keansburg, like I mentioned a couple of times already, is going to be more on the affordable side for Monmouth County, much more affordable side, I would say, versus the average sales price typically being around 685 to $700,000. And that's the median average, but that's almost the starting point for a lot of towns in the area. So like Freehold, Manalapan, Marlboro, which are very desirable, more towards that western part of Monmouth County, and on the eastern part with like Wall, Tinton Falls, Eatontown, kind of similar price points there too. So overall, like I said, I think this has a lot of room to grow and run, and I appreciate if you buy in early. Wouldn't be shocked 5, 10 years from now. There's a lot of people that are sitting there and laughing their way to the bank over in Keansburg. So that's kind of what I got for the housing market over there. In terms of, let's just say, some shopping and dining, like just things to do in general, where we at here? Shopping and dining. So going into Keansburg itself, you have some like small businesses and like nothing crazy, I would say. You can kind of see like you have different couple markets, supermarket over there. Really nothing like amazing, right? Moving out to like Route 36 and Route 35, this is where you're going to have probably the best shopping or some of the best shopping in Monmouth County, in my opinion. Route 35 is an excellent hub from up in this way in the Hazlitt and Middletown area all the way down south as far as like the beach towns go, pretty much. But in a sense, the Hazlitt section over here, you're going to have a Home Depot and a Lowe's. You work your way over. ShopRite, a couple other places here. Here we go. Costco, awesome. Probably one of my favorite stores ever to go to. That's pretty much in the Hazlitt section over there. You move down the line, go into more the Homedale and Middletown area. People dealing with the Marshalls. You got was that dog training? There was one other stop here. Hobby Lobby, that's another big one. Michael's, Target's right there. Moving down to more Middletown, another ShopRite. So pretty much everything you could possibly imagine is going to be along that Route 35 border, which again, you're only, I mean, you can just take Main Street all the way down 10 minutes away from that. So realistically, I would say between 10 and 20 minutes away, you're going to have every single store that you might need in this area, which is awesome to have for just in general. Same kind of thing with going on with the restaurants and dining in Keansburg. Not a ton of like, if you're looking for this excellent cuisine, I probably wouldn't hang out here. Like that wouldn't be like the spot to go. There's pretty good reviews with Half Moon and Stick a Fork in it. I personally haven't eaten there, so I can't give you a in-person review or anything like that. But at least just from what I saw, pretty decent reviews on Google and stuff. Again, moving back out, if you want the most elevated experience, I would head into, again, you could go on Route 35. There's some pretty good restaurants there. Me Mom's, that's actually popping up right here. Excellent breakfast location. They have a couple different spots now throughout Monmouth. I think in Ocean County now too. Highly recommend checking them out. But the best spot to eat and probably one of the best culinary destinations we have here in Monmouth County is definitely going to be Red Bank. That's going to give you a more city atmosphere kind of vibe too. But just typing in restaurants, this isn't even like close to half of them that are popping up. But you can kind of see just how many are stacked upon right here. Red Rock's an awesome spot if you want to go eat near the water and enjoy the breeze off of there. B2 Bistro's an awesome spot. What else we got? Char Steakhouse. Highly recommend going there. It is going to be pricey though, but some of the best steaks you will have. Dublin House, awesome Irish pub, inviting atmosphere. You got Teak Restaurant over here. That turns into more of a nightclub at night, so which is a cool thing to do. So overall, this would be the location if you're going out to eat, like being near Keansburg. If you want to go drive that extra 25 minutes, would highly recommend. You can go here every single weekend for a year, 2 years straight, and probably still eat at a new restaurant. It's absolutely awesome. And then last thing I want to kind of just check off, just some things to do and entertainment options. Keansburg does really give you quite a few things to do. We already mentioned we have the beach, so if you just want to lay out in the sun, that's always going to be available to you. One thing we haven't checked into just yet is going to be the amusement park and Runaway Rapids. So you will have a water park over here and an amusement park pretty much all across this side in a sense. And then most towns obviously aren't going to have that. Now, it's not the same size as like a Great Adventure down in Jackson, right? So it's not going to be like near that. But if you are looking for something to do with the family or in the area, that's something that could definitely suffice, especially during the summertime and just getting by there. So those are a couple different options. Again, the surrounding area a little bit more here. Homedale, PNC Bank Arts Center is a large concert venue, 20,000 seat arena. Big names, not all year round, but from like, I think they start the concerts in like April, May, and probably more towards May, and they run through the summer. During the winter time, it's really nice there too. They'll do like a light show for Christmas, so you can drive through the complex, and they'll have all these different light designs up. That's really nice as well. Getting back into that Red Bank area, again, you can go to the Court-Basie Theater. They're going to put on comedy shows and different plays. That's really fun. You have the whole nightlife that we already mentioned, the different restaurants. So there's plenty of things to do in general. You have the Navesink River, so any type of boating and that kind of activity if you're into that. Awesome. Same thing if you go over to the Keyport area to the west over here. That's another potential there for you too, with just fishing in general. So if you're looking for outdoor activities, you're going to be not far from it within Keansburg. If you want to go lay on the beach, they have it. Amusement park, concert venues not far away. Overall, it's in a pretty good spot location-wise too. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. All my contact information will down below in the comments and description. So whether you are 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even year out, doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. And if you are looking to move to maybe a different part of the Central Jersey area that isn't Keansburg necessarily, check out the 2 videos popping up and hopefully help out a bit too. Have a great day.